What's up, fam? Welcome back to the vlog. This is actually officially the first vlog that I've done since starting residency. If you're new here, my name is J.R. Smith and I'm a first year orthopedic surgery resident at the Mayo Clinic. And today is actually one of my days off. But that doesn't mean that we're not gonna be busy. We still have a lot of things to do. And one of the goals of this vlog is to show you that there are actually days off in residency and some of the things that I at least think that we should be doing during these days off. Two, we're going to cover how the first month or so of residency has been. It's definitely been a steep learning curve. It's been incredible, tons of learning every single day, but I'm excited to kind of share with you exactly how that experience has been for me. And three, we're gonna talk a bit about step 3 and my results and basically how I was able to take step 3 before even starting residency, which I don't think most people do, but I highly recommend. So first things first is we're gonna get a bit of studying in. If you think that studying ends when you graduate medical school, you are very wrong, because honestly, I feel like I'm almost studying more than I was in medical school. But at least it's fun studying. It's like orthopedics. Can't get better than that. So basically, the way I'm studying is using ortho bullets, and you guys probably actually aren't going to be able to see on this. Hold on, let me show you on my phone. So this is what the app looks like, and it's absolutely fantastic. So you can see here, we have July is the month that we're in right now. It's the 21st, and every month I'm basically studying something different. So I'm starting off on hand because I'm actually in plastics, but it's the plastics hand service. Every orthopedic surgeon, their intern year has to take 6 months off service. And one of my off service rotations or non-orthopedic rotations is plastics, but there's hand overlap. So I'm starting by studying plastics. You can see in August, it's gonna be trauma. September, still trauma. So basically 2 months of trauma. Then we get into some spine. And so you can see it just schedules it for you, and every single day. So let's just go to yesterday. There are articles to read. So scaphoid lunate advanced collapse, all of these kind of articles to read. So I would read these 5 articles, and then they have questions and flashcards and all of those kind of things to do. And I can give you an example of what that would look like here. And you guys know how big of a proponent I am for flashcards. So here's an example of a card. It just says, what condition can be associated with bilateral AIN neuropathy? And this is, I believe, pronounced Parsonage-Turner syndrome. It's basically like a viral neuritis kind of syndrome. And you can see it tells me right there, Parsonage-Turner syndrome. And just like Anki, I can do no clue, hard, fair, easy. And it uses spaced repetition algorithm, so I'll see again, just like Anki. So I am still doing the same thing I was doing in medical school, just in a different format. And now that we've done a bit of studying, again, this kind of schedule for me has been maintained throughout all of medical school, and it's hopefully going to be maintained throughout residency as well, where studying or that kind of work is the first thing that I do in the morning, just to get it off of my plate so that I can enjoy the rest of the day and not have to worry about it. But now that this is done, we're gonna spend some time with Madison and Kari, and I think one of the best things that we can do on a day off outside of the hospital is refilling our cup. And of course, if you know me, that is with my family. So let's go see what they're up to. What are y'all up to? Oh, what is that? Hey. Say hi. You want to say hi to the vlog? You say hi, vlog.
Hi,
Look how fast you are going! That's so
I'm a month into residency. How has residency been from your perspective?
It's like third year, but on steroids.
Yeah, like the clerkship year, just like being in the hospital. Mm-hmm. Yeah. How is it compared to what you expected?
I feel like med school does kind of prepare you in some way, but you don't really know until like you're in it yourself and experiencing it firsthand.
Yeah.
I knew it was going to be long nights, long days studying, but just different types of studying. And you say, you're technically done at this time, but you would be home like hours later because either a procedure was longer than expected or X, Y, and Z. And so it's just going with the flow.
That's definitely like a great point, because in medical school, when like you're done with the work or it's been a quote unquote long day, the resident will usually just like let you go home. Mm-hmm. But that resident is still in the hospital, and now I'm that resident. So days are definitely a little longer. There are some times when you get home earlier than expected, and sometimes when you get home later, and it's for the most part just you get done when the work is done. And when you're a new intern, that work takes longer, trying to figure out how to place the right orders and write the correct notes and triaging patients in a way where you can take care of things efficiently if you're on call and all of those kind of things. It takes a long time to get into the flow of doing that efficiently. And because of that, days are probably a little longer than they need to be, but for the most part, it's you're finished when the work is finished. And yep.
And I feel like with this intern year and also being on a non-specialty rotation, mm-hmm. That there's like new things that you've never seen before because you weren't in plastics in med school, you know.
Right.
So there's gonna be like a learning curve with that too, and even like notes are different. How certain doctors want certain things, or how the program itself, each program will do its own thing too. So each month will be a learning curve.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So my schedule is, again, 6 months have to be off service, and we have them in quarters. So we go 3 months off, 3 months on, 3 months off, 3 months on. And in terms of off and on, I'm just saying ortho or non-ortho. And so I start with plastics this month. That was my first month of residency. And what's nice, again, is that it's plastics hand. So lots of overlap between ortho and plastics with that. But it has been tough because there's lots of flaps and all these other kind of plastic-specific procedures that I have zero experience in. And so trying to prepare for cases and stuff is longer than they would be if I was preparing to put in a nail in a femur or something like that, something that I've done before. And so that's been definitely a little challenging. And also just the department is people that I don't know, that I did not know yet. Luckily, the department is fantastic and the residents are amazing. Everybody's been great. But yeah, that just elevates the learning curve. And then my next rotation is going to be gen surgery trauma. So our trauma team for general surgery, and that will be interesting too. It's actually not that much of an operative experience, whereas plastics, I was in the OR every single day when I wasn't on call.
Wow! Let me see it. Oh. Whoa! Yeah.
There can't be no light if darkness don't exist. He never left my side. He showed me the way.
Some of you guys may know that I am a FIGS ambassador, which is a huge blessing. FIGS is easily the most comfortable scrubs ever made, most functional scrubs ever made, and I am honored to be an ambassador for the company. And I am especially excited about what they just sent me. So as many of you know, the Olympics are coming up, and FIGS is actually going to be outfitting the medical team for Team USA, and they sent me some of the scrubs that the medical team is actually going to be wearing, and well, they're all amazing, but this white pair goes crazy. Let me show you guys. So of course we have blue and red, and of course for Team USA, the color we're missing is white. And look at this white pair. They're not even like scrubs. Team USA FIGS with the Olympic rings and the American flag. And then let's see these pants. And then the pants. Whew. These are so fresh. I am gonna find every excuse to wear these in the hospital. These will be worn regularly to the hospital. Thank you, FIGS. Shout out to FIGS. And I'm also gonna leave a discount code in the description if you guys want a pair of FIGS. I think it's like 20%, 25% off, something like that. So there'll be a code for you guys to get a discount, and shout out to FIGS.
So I know JR's not gonna have this on camera, but he just ate gummy worms.
Wow.
I mean gummy bears, sorry.
Wow.
Gummy bears. Right before right before he's gonna do a workout.
It's all about balance, okay? It's all about balance. Sometimes you need something sweet before you get a little sweat in.
I'll keep it real with y'all.
So I thought an awesome opportunity would be to show you guys around our mastery lab. This is basically where we get to have all this access to incredible tools, equipment, and everything that we need to train in the procedural style things that we do. And for an orthopedic surgery resident, all of the surgical kind of things, from suturing and knot tying to drilling to even arthroscopic stuff. So I'm gonna spend some time kind of training and getting my skills up here. But before I do that, I wanted to talk briefly about kind of what my first month of residency has really looked like. And for the most part, I feel extremely blessed because it's been busy, but I've actually had every weekend except for one off so far. And so like weekends off in residency, who would have thought that? That's not always gonna be the case, and it's definitely not gonna be the case on my next block, but it has happened. And I think so many people fixate on the most busiest times of residency and share that experience. And sometimes it can taint the realities of it. So for the most part, my days have been Monday through Friday. I am on basically purely an operative service. So I've been in the OR operating Monday through Friday, basically every single day. I usually have gotten to the hospital around 6 in the morning, and sometimes I've left as early as 2 or 3 p.m. and sometimes I've left as late as 11 p.m. Depending on the cases that we have and other things. And then also throughout this time, I've also been kind of alternating with other people in the plastic service as well as other orthopedic surgeons on taking hand call. And so when we take call, we're basically there for more of a scheduled time. So for us, call for me has been scheduled from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. and I hold the hand pager. So whenever someone either in the hospital or someone in the emergency department presents with a hand case, usually like a distal radius fracture or a finger laceration, something like that, then they'll page whoever is on call for whoever's holding the hand call pager, which has been me for now 4 times. I've taken hand call 4 times in basically the first month of my plastics rotation in the first month of residency. And this has been an incredibly terrifying but tons of learning type of experience, because every time that my pager goes off and I get a page and it's just someone in the emergency department, like my heart just starts, I get tachycardic, probably a little bit of AFib, and because in my mind I'm like, I don't really know, am I gonna know what to do with this patient? Is this gonna be something serious? And all of those kind of things. What I have come to realize, and I'm sure that this is gonna be the case for everyone is that you come in and you think that you have to know everything and you have to know how to manage everything. But there's always senior residents, and especially for interns, you are expected to follow up with your plan or what to do with your senior resident. So you're never alone, you're never going through this alone. And I have found so much just encouragement in being able to have seniors who are down to see the super scary things with me, and always down, even if it's something super simple, just for me to run by my plan before actually doing anything. So that has actually turned from a terrifying, scary experience into something fun, where it's like, we're gonna see what comes in today. I know I'm gonna learn no matter what, and I know that I have some backup and some help, because I sure enough could not handle these things by myself. So that's been good. And then I'm also had a few days where I've been on the night shift. And actually my final week of this rotation is all nights. And so that is basically gonna be more like a shift work kind of model, where I'll be from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. and I will be holding the floor pages. So for all of the plastic surgeons who have patients who are in the hospital overnight, I'll be basically holding the pager to take care of them. So if a few pages that you may have is somebody's blood pressure is either hypertensive or hypotensive, or can we change the medication for one patient, or this patient is now vomiting, or certain things like that, and just being able to manage that and think more. A lot of times I have to think medicine. Why is this patient vomiting? What do I do? What's kind of the algorithm to assess, is this serious? Is this not serious? And kind of go from there. And that can be hard at 2 a.m, but they're great experiences. And so again, my schedule has basically really been all over the place, everything from 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. And it's been great. But what I will say is that if you are extremely nervous about starting residency, taking call, doing all of these things, that's warranted, and you probably should be, because if you weren't nervous about taking care of someone's health where you may feel a little unprepared to do so, you probably should not be a doctor. But you have so much help, and people understand that interns are essentially medical students, and they are here to basically learn as fast as they can so that they can be a meaningful contributor to the team and make meaningful contributions to a patient's healthcare. And so you don't have to feel like you're going into those things by yourself. I always build things up in my brain to be far more scary than they actually are. And so the start of intern year has been no different. Really quick, a few cases that I've seen in the OR. This has been awesome. It's all hand surgery stuff. So I've seen everything from carpal tunnel to trigger finger releases, some of those more basic things, to amputations of 4 digits, after severe traumas, to Dupuytren contracture releases, and all of these pretty cool hand things. And hand anatomy is so intricate. I need to get these loupes, these little goggles they're basically like microscopes that you can wear on your glasses, because sometimes when I'm kind of looking in, the surgeon, the attending physician I'm working with, or the senior resident that I'm working with can see things that I can't. And it's one, because they are far more experienced and have seen these things before that I haven't, and 2, because I'm just trying to look, and I'm already blind without these. So without the loupes, I'm just like, I think that's a nerve. That looks nervy. I don't know. But it's been really, really cool. I've never had a hand rotation, and so starting on hand has been a great experience for me so far. But now I'm gonna get some training in, and I'm actually gonna have a couple of med students who are visiting from Nth Dimensions come and join me, and we're gonna work through some stuff, and we'll probably talk with them and see how they're doing. But let's get some training in. You recording your own content?
Yes, sir.
All right, these are my boys Max and Akeem.
What's up, y'all?
Where are y'all here? Just introduce yourselves to the people, and then what are y'all doing at Mayo?
My name is Max Okolo from Philadelphia. So we're here as Nth Dimension scholars, just shadowing and learning about Mayo Clinic this summer in orthopedic surgery.
Yes, sir. We got sent out here by Nth Dimensions, and so it's allowing us an opportunity to shadow, get research opportunities at Mayo. It's been a great summer thus far. Been in shadowing orthopedic spine surgeon. Had to see a lot of spine cases this summer. So.
Yes, sir. And then you've been in sports, right, Max?
Yeah, sports medicine with Dr. Koraha mostly.
Yes, sir.
But I've been all around all the sports medicine surgeons here, so like Dr. Camp, all that.
Yeah.
Awesome. And I know you got a YouTube channel. We got to get a plug in with this.
Sir.
Where can the people find you?
You can find me on YouTube at Mission of Medicine. It's a YouTube channel where I share my pre-med and medical school journey.
Oh yeah, subscribe, y'all. Like and subscribe, all of the stuff. Hinge like this, and then now grab this white back here. So like, I'm here. Yep. And then rotate your index finger through that gap. Perfect. Grab that white, and now push your thumb through. Yep.
Got it.
And so that squares the knot. I'm back home and I'm about to hop onto a quick Teach As You Learn event. This event is what I wish I knew before starting medical school for our pre-meds and the students currently in the application cycle, and even current first year medical students, honestly. If you're unaware, Teach As You Learn is a mentorship community designed for pre-med and medical students to be able to, one, benefit from events like this, but also just find community and engage with other people, their peers from across the country, and find mentorship. So I am very, very active in there. So anyone in there is officially one of my mentees. But I just love being able to mentor, and there's so many other students in the country who also love to mentor, and there's so many people who want to be mentored, myself included. And so this Teach As You Learn is just an opportunity to do exactly that. As people go throughout this process of developing a career in medicine, they get to teach the things that they're learning to people who are one step behind them. And there's always one person. So pre-med students can even be mentors to younger pre-med students, and senior residents can mentor medical students or junior residents. And so if you're interested, there'll be a link in the description. I highly recommend everyone joining this amazing family. And I'm gonna hop into this event and hopefully share some wisdoms. We'll see if I remember what starting medical school is like. I definitely do, because I talk about it all the time, but it's gonna be fun.
Maybe I should have started this, maybe I shouldn't have done this, and this is where we want to clarify. What do you need to know before starting medical school?
All right, before we finish this vlog, I'm literally out of breath because of that basketball/dance party game with guard. But before we bring this vlog to an end, I just briefly wanted to touch on, I think, two important things. One is hopefully this vlog showed you that not every day in residency is the grueling 30-hour shift in the hospital, running from consult to consults, multiple hours in the operating room, and just kind of grinding it out in the hospital. Though those days definitely do exist, and I'm sure I will probably vlog some of those days as well to give you insight into what that looks like. But there are also days like this where you get to, wake up when your body wakes you up, study a little bit, go to church, hang out with the family, practice your surgical skills or just other skills that you need for your specialty. Kind of on your own time, and be a human, and have those days to kind of refill the cup in preparation for the other grueling days. So hopefully first that this vlog kind of showed you some of that side of the realities of residency. And the second thing that I want to share with you guys is that I am extremely excited to tell you that I passed step 3, so I am officially all done with all of the USMLE step exams. For people who aren't aware, step 3 is an exam that you have to take after you graduate from medical school. Your medical school diploma is required to get you registered for the exam. And so most people take this exam sometime during their intern year. The vast majority of this exam is related to internal medicine, and kind of it's The vast majority of this exam is medicine based and also like stats based and things like that. But it has a similar flavor to step 2. And so the decision that I made to basically take this between graduating and starting residency was literally like the week before starting residency, is because I knew that the closer I would be to step 2, the less I would have to actually prepare and try to remember some things related to OB-GYN or neurology or some of these other specialties that I will not see as an orthopedic surgery resident, but that will be on step 3. And so for me, I knew the earlier I could take it, the better, and the less studying that I would have to do. And then also it just allowed a weight to be off of my shoulders during intern year, to not have to think about step 3. And so if you are considering when you're gonna take step 3 or what that looks like, I highly recommend thinking about taking it before starting residency, especially if you're not in a medicine residency. And so the way that I basically prepared for step 3 was I spent about 10 days preparing. I didn't buy UWorld, only because I still had my Amboss subscription. And with Amboss, I basically did anywhere from 20 to 50 questions, probably throughout those 10 days of studying. So 20 to 50 questions per day, so not a lot. Far less than what I did for step 2. And if you're wondering what that process looked like, I'll leave a link to that video in the description. But it was a very, very different experience. So very minimal studying in terms of practice questions for me. If you're unaware, step 3 has a kind of case-based section of the exam. And so one thing that I highly recommend doing is using the CCS cases to prepare for that part of the exam. UWorld also has one, but I think the CCS cases are what I was told is the gold standard, and they definitely worked for me. But it basically allows you to practice walking through the management of a specific case. And the format for the real deal is literally exactly the same as the format on the CCS cases. So of those, I did anywhere between, I think, 30 to 40 cases, and those last between 10 and 20 minutes. And so over the 10 days, as you can see, there wasn't significant studying going on. I think that I set myself up for success by preparing as hard as I did for step 2 and doing Anki all throughout medical school, and feeling like by the end of medical school, I would be in a position where I could at least pass this exam. And that brings me to a good point, which is a lot of at least the surgical specialties do not carry that much weight into the actual score on the exam. Your scores on your OITEs for orthopedics, which is your orthopedic in-training exams, and I'm sure other specialties have similar exams related specifically to that field. Those are definitely more important than your step 3 score. Step 3 is an exam where you really just want to make sure that you pass the exam and you can just be done with it. And so I don't think that there's that much I can really say in terms of developing a super fine-tuned study schedule like I did for step 2, just given that I did not study for step 3 like I did for step 2. But I think that there are a few kind of general principles that I found to be successful in my case, and you might find to be successful for you as well. And the first thing I would say is to take the exam as early as possible. The second thing that I would say is practice questions never hurt. So the more practice questions that you can do, the more prepared that you will be. It's not something where you have to be doing Anki and, like studying from a textbook or watching third-party resources and videos and things like that. You don't have to do that kind of stuff for step 3. The only kind of review that you need to do is reviewing the questions that you do for your practice questions. So the more practice questions you take, the better. If you're feeling uneasy about how many you're getting right, or how successful you're going to be on the real deal, don't hesitate to take a practice exam. UWorld has a practice exam. I took a practice exam a few days before the real deal on UWorld and got a passing score, and that gave me the confidence that I needed to basically send it. So use practice questions, take a practice exam if you feel the need to, and use the CCS cases to really just like fine tune that part of the exam, because it's very different than every other part of an exam that you've ever taken. But you can kind of develop a system for being able to walk through every case. And I'll briefly go through my system. order everything, do all the physical exams, and order everything that's not invasive. So the labs and the diagnostic exams, ultrasound, things like that that aren't going to be invasive or cost tons of money, like an MRI or something. Those things will usually not hurt you. There are basically things that I ordered for everyone: a CBC, a BMP, a pregnancy test for women in childbearing age. So some things you just kind of build this gestalt of, I'm just gonna order this all the time. And the more of those cases that you do, the easier you'll be able to kind of develop that feel of, I'm just gonna order this set of labs and diagnostic tests, and then we'll go from there and see what comes back positive and what comes back negative. So the more reps you do with that, the better you'll be able to do, and that's an important part of the exam. And then the last thing that I'll say is, in terms of test confidence, I think that this is something that holds most students back. Approach taking a USMLE exam like you are going into a fight. I don't know. I watch boxing. I like boxing. I don't know if doctors should like boxing, but I like boxing. And you have to be very confident in yourself and in your studying and all of those kind of things. And honestly, I feel like if you do a decent amount of practice questions and you prepare on the CCS cases, and you develop a mindset to be confident in your preparation, you will pass that exam. So those kind of things, and the more that you practice being confident, the more that it actually starts to stick. So practice being confident on these exams. If you have any questions specific about the Step 3 exam and stuff like that, or you want me to expand more on it, just let me know. But I do hope that you enjoyed this vlog. Hopefully we'll be able to do a few more throughout residency. Not a few more, we'll do a lot more throughout residency. So make sure you're subscribed if you're interested in continuing to follow this journey. And if you like the video, make sure to throw that thumbs up. And of course, as always, keep evolving, and I'll see you guys in the next one.